Thanks so much for coming in, Quentin. It's really great to have you here. I really appreciate that you've made the time to come in and to have a talk with us. Just for everyone to sort of know a bit more about yourself, can you talk a bit about your experience, like how you got into ECE, how long you've been teaching for, and what kind of roles you've been in?
Yeah. I te tuatahi, ngā mihi koutou, ngā mihi atu kia koutou katoa e hakarongo mai ana ki tēnei irirangi i tēnei rā, nō reira ngā mihi. Ko Quentin Graham taku ingoa, no hokianga whakapau karakia hau, ko Pangaru ko Papatanga Maunga, ko hokianga te moana, ko nā toki mata haurua te waka. So I'd just like to firstly say thank you, Caleb, for welcoming me along today.
Thank you for coming.
So basically what I just said is thank you for listening today. I'm basically from up north, Hokianga, is where my whānau is from. As for my background, I sort of grew up in Auckland and spent some of my time in the rural areas or back up in a farm-like setting growing up. So it's been fairly mixed. And that gave me a bit of a foundation for learning a little bit or getting my feet wet inside te ao Māori, living back home with my whānau. And from there, I sort of went to a Māori boarding school, which is Hato Petara. Now that school is sadly just closed. So, but from what little bit I had learnt, I decided to go and help as a kaiawhino or a teacher aide when I first got my first real job within teaching. So, and that was actually even before there was a curriculum. Which was, you can work that out, but 1996. So, and at that stage, it gives me flashbacks to how the curriculum's changed and how perspectives and pedagogies changed to begin with. So, like a lot of teachers have gone out and reached into te whāriki and started to learn about how are we actually going to start teaching from a social perspective. But from that, I also got into one of my longest stints was also as a kaiawhina within Kohanga Rewa, helping our teachers, and that was at Te Kōtuku Kohanga Rewa in West Auckland. I was there for 7 years, and that was a long time pretty much just to stay in the one sort of position. At the time, with a lot of our Kohanga Rewa, sadly during those times we were underfunded, so when it comes to underfunding and working with children, obviously that's a lot of stuff that comes onto workers to be more creative. So in the end, I was like a lot of men in ECE, I was like, man, I think I just want to get an outside job and drive a truck or, because the other side of me is really an outdoorsy kind of a guy.
Okay.
So after all that time, I actually left doing working with tamariki and got into civil works construction kind of things for a few years. And that actually helped round me out a bit and see things from the other side of life, So those things that I did learn within that sort of area have helped me come back into education, which is
interesting.
Which we can talk about soon.
Yes.
So I mean, because te whāriki obviously is a dual sort of a curriculum, or it is. So I have a lot of time for the actual in-depth concepts within it. So actually when I do work with te whāriki and I think community and all the other things that are within it, I actually think from a Māori perspective first, and I have to remember, okay, what's this word? So I'm doing a bit of flipping in my head. I sort of have a lot of time for te whāriki from a Māori perspective and how it can be introduced
Yeah, right,
throughout Aotearoa.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, cool. And so like today you're here to talk about male teachers in ECE, and this is there's so many ways we can talk about this. Like why is there a shortage? How we can get how can we get more male teachers into the sector? Because personally, from my point of view, I feel male teachers bring a different perspective, and that's really important because there's male and female children,
Yeah, that's right.
but I think the proportion of male and female teachers is very skewed towards the female side, and male teachers bring as I mentioned, a very different perspective in their approach to how they teach, how they nurture, and I think that having these different approaches is great for the children in terms of the outcome that they get to see, so yeah. So being a male teacher, how many years have you been in ECE now?
Okay, let me do a little bit of counting. Maybe about
Showing your age here.
12.
11, 12
Not
years
too
now.
long within ECE, maybe possibly about 12 years, but
Yep.
from different sort of times,
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, like, would you agree with me that male teachers have a different perspective when it comes to teaching? What are the differences that you see that a male teacher brings that's different from a female teacher?
For a start, we're male.
Yep.
So we've gone through what the boys have gone through from
when they were
our
growing up.
age.
So you probably are a bit
mean,
more understanding.
I played in the dirt. I played in that sandpit,
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah.
Living that life, as
Yep.
as a 3-year-old. The earliest I can remember is back to maybe around 3 years old in
Yep.
my own memory. So I remember all those times. So it's all about experiences, to getting the widest amount of
Fun.
fun, but getting teachers that have plenty of different knowledge from things they've done throughout their life.
Yep.
Obviously, women are just as experiential throughout their life as we are, but
Yep.
being a male is nothing that we do as a male is what we always have
Yep.
known or will do. So,
Yep.
such as even with a shortage of men in ECE, there's been a shortage of women within the construction and
Yep.
civil works sort of area. So
Yep.
I bring my experience of that sort of life into my teaching.
Yep.
Sadly, I've been to a lot of early childhood education centres,
Yep.
and either one, I don't see a carpentry table working, or it's being used for something else, or there's
Yep.
nothing.
Yep.
Very rare I see a carpentry table working,
Yep.
or technology sector stuff that's going. So that's one thing that needs to sort of get working from a men and
Male
ECE.
perspective. Yep.
Not that all hammering and that is
Yep.
all men. I know
Yep.
people that probably
Yep.
they've never used to hammer in their life, but men from all sorts of different backgrounds, yeah.
Yep. Yep. And why do you think, from your perspective, there are so few male ECE teachers?
Well, as histories and pretty much a lot of people within ECE education knows, going back to the 1990s and the court cases that were there from the Christchurch creche, things that were brought up then, that sort of thing obviously puts men off working with children. It's all about being in a safe environment for themselves, and they don't want to put themselves sort of in that area.
Yep.
That's one thing.
They don't want to sort of be.
They don't want to be stigmatized as one.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other
And
word-
walk around the lines.
they don't want to cross any lines or boundaries, or more or less be thinged of anything.
Well, you don't want to enter a sector with a thinking at the back of your head going, I need to always watch my move.
Yeah.
Could this be misinterpreted in the wrong way? And if you're always watching yourself, you're always thinking about it, and you're always second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
That's not a very good position to be in.
No.
You know.
Well, there's not many jobs where you get a thing and you might get accused of doing something and end up in jail. Unfortunately, men are a bit very jittery about it.
Yeah, and it's very easy for that to happen when you think about it. To be accused in such a way.
I mean, for me, it's really for the safety of children that we undertake our own safety. So there's policies and procedures in place within centres for the protection of children, and that one thing is to be always seen and in the open, never alone.
Yeah.
Never alone in a sleep room, for having windows there so that you're not in a anywhere
where you
shady,
where you can't defend yourself.
Yeah, that's right. So like I said, I was in the 90s, and it's pretty much the old style, even though there's still a lot of old style buildings out there, but they're just basically compartments of doors everywhere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really go so much into the new kind of thinking of for men to work in those kind of buildings, without having a big open plan sort of a space where you can be seen with children. Also, culturally wise, there's different ethnicities, cultures that they don't like men changing, obviously, their children's nappies. So that's another issue that comes up at times. Then you have another issue of if you're a man within ECE, it's your staff saying, man, we got to change. How come he's not changing? Man, we got to do more workload. What's going on? He's got a diploma in ECE or a degree, so he
should be able to do it.
Do the work, get in there. But then
pull his own weight.
It's all those sort of things that comes to your mind as a man working in there, So yeah, there's all sorts of different things. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, even my partner, I was open to doing, and I am open to changing children and looking after them in that regard.
Yeah.
If I'm in the right space with where I'm seen in.
Yeah.
So I'm open to that. But my partner, she's the one that says, no, I don't want you doing that. And that's only because of her love for me, that she wants to look after me in that way and says,
Don't want to put you in any precarious situation.
That's
is it?
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I had my own thing with my partner about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But-
we've overcome that, I think. Yeah.
But there's also the parents' perspective as
That's
well.
right. That's what I was saying.
I mean, even if you get along well with everyone in the center, the teachers, your staff and your colleagues, the parents who come in, they might be thinking, oh, so my 2-year-old baby girl is going to be in a room with Quentin and because he does the diapers as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and that's happened before. So that has been brought up before, about being with me or a man teacher being around. So which was actually a big shock to me. And that saying this, like at the end of the day, they got to know me and they were really good about it, you know.
Yep.
But I suppose them having their first experience as a man being an ECE and working with their children was one of, no, I'm not quite sure about this. I think I just better say no, we don't really want them working. But as soon as people get to know my character and what I'm really like, they're really wonderful. And why it was a shock to me was because I've come from a Māori perspective of working in kohanga reo, where the male has a place with tamariki of, we have our own area of teaching children about mihi and standing up from a man's perspective. Culturally we have our own area within teaching tamariki. and being a part of tikanga from a male perspective. So children are quite used to that, of seeing a man in the area and getting up and doing things in a different way from our wahine. So from working within Kohanga Reo, where I was always sort of, Papa Quentin is what all the tamariki call me.
Right.
Which is a respectful thing to do for your elder.
Yeah.
Working within a mainstream sort of a thing and hearing that was really quite hurtful. And I was sort of put back a little bit.
Yeah. But you gotta acknowledge though, I don't think it's personal.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just
not.
any males in general, and when you happen to be in that kind of situation.
I know. Just from that kind of thing of being an open, really caring, honest person. It did put me back, and like I said, once they really did get to know me and learning about diversity and learning about the big wide world around me from a truly global sort of a thing about how we all fit in different ways now in a very different world. I have to see through different perspectives, and it's only another stepping stone in seeing things from different people's eyes. So
I think New Zealand's not the only place where there's so few male ECE teachers.
Actually, there's places with less of a percentage than here.
Yeah. But then I when you go to primary, then there's more, and then when you get to secondary, there's more as well. But for some reason, ECE seems to have the lowest proportion, and it's the same across most other countries. I don't know.
Yeah.
If there are, what other countries may have more ECE teachers?
I think a lot of it is. I suppose we could look at, early New Zealand, early colonies, of the British Empire. 1930s, 1940s, 50s. Woman in the home, woman's the carer, the nurturer, and. I mean, for a man to come in and gonna be nurturer. What does nurturing mean? Is that really for me?
Correct. It's not really something which is generally associated with male, right? It's more the, I'm the breadwinner. I'm gonna
I'm gonna go out and dig some stuff like Quentin and get us all back now. So, do I really want to do that either? Yeah.
I think there's a lot. There's a lot of barriers that prevent or discourage males from considering and entering.
I mean, a lot of the dads and fathers I do meet out there, I think I start changing their mind when I'm sitting there getting a tan, playing in the water and watching the children. We're building sandcastles. That's on the agenda this morning. And they're stressed out about their work schedule. I say, you have a good day, mate. I'll see you later.
But that being said, because of that perception, because of a couple of those barriers, I do think there will be some really talented male teachers who just have not entered the profession because of those barriers.
Yeah, that's right. It's
sad.
It's really perceptions of the past and what they've seen and what they know. Unfortunately, some of those perceptions are still there of always being the nurturer and the carer over being a teacher and a provider of knowledge. That's one thing that really us kayako teachers need to help shift. I mean, obviously we are carers and more of a, not glorified babysitters, but we do an aspect of looking after the tamariki while their parents are at mahi, at work. But from a thing of, what am I doing? I'm just going to be cleaning and changing and washing stuff up and, I got to... But, I try to change. I've talked to people in a way about trying to change their perspective and their mindset about being a teacher within ECE and taking that more professional approach, being a observer and seeing how you can lift certain areas within your pedagogy. I think once you get comfortable, a lot of people tend to kind of, starts getting a okay, day 1, day 2, day 3.
Mm.
Not everyone, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I do think it is a bit sad that because of those perceptions, some really talented teachers um, are not out there. You know, they never had that chance to explore it. I do think teaching is one of the most rewarding careers that are out there. Not from a financial point of view,
Yeah.
but the fact that you impact lives
Yeah.
and you sort of see that happening around you when you're around them, the way you nurture, the way you teach, and you see their development and you see how they're growing. You're actually really making a difference in someone's lives, and when you touch someone in a way positively like that, it's very rewarding. I feel not many other industries are like that.
Yeah.
You look at banking, and you're dealing with numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its own value, no doubt. But you don't really see anything.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you see a certain result, and it goes like, bigger numbers at the end.
Yeah.
And you go,
Yeah, no, it's definitely rewarding. Just walking in a room and seeing all those lots of smiling faces at you every day, that you're making a
Little
difference.
things.
You're making a difference at
Yeah.
home as well when parents come and talk, saying, they've been talking about you all the time. So, but yeah, there are a lot of people that are missing out.
those who are not meant to be in the bank, and they're actually more of a teacher, who has a certain a nurturing flair to them,
Yeah, that's right.
and has that kind of tendency to want to teach and help someone develop.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I suppose, along the earlier, when you're in school, I had a long gap. Oh, actually, I didn't. I sort of had a long gap actually between finding my way into tertiary education. So from that perspective, I finally made it there a few years ago. So there was a big gap. I mean, sometimes people do go along a certain line and then, all of a sudden like flip to something totally different. And to be honest, like I said before, those are the kinds of people that we really need in ECE because their experiential things about what they have and know are really valuable to working with children. So, yeah. But yeah, a lot of it also comes down to whether or not, I mean, in the past, it's perceived man as the breadwinner or the moneymaker. So whether or not you're going to be going into teaching at university is probably one of the avenues that people tend to stay away from. I mean, you get paid in smiles, but it ain't going to thing your bank account to the highest extreme. Yeah.
Ain't gonna provide food on the table or pay for the roof,
No, I'm not going to be moving to, Castle of the Hill somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a reality, that perception of it not being paid very well, and then.
But we keep pushing. We don't settle for that though. You have to keep pushing for better pay parity or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's also the thing of not just going into something like ECE or not doing it for higher pay for men, but it's also the name.
The name.
Yep, the name. So it's sort of like, mate, what are you doing nowadays? What are you doing, bro?
Right.
It's like, I'm a ECE worker. It's a lot of men, they're within inside themselves, they're sort of
ashamed, a bit shy.
Oh well, yeah. Some would think it as losing man points.
Yeah.
It's like going from a ute to a mini in their eyes.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So
yeah.
I mean, that's life. I mean, I'm just putting it out there because that's what I'm.
That's what you
I
face.
just want people to know. Yeah.
So how do you deal with it then?
I deal with it by coming back to sort of my Māori perspective of wanting to help more within te ao Māori and to teach children waiata and learn te reo and different knowledge through my own personal experiences of what I know and my knowledge background. So, yeah, even though I've always sort of worked a lot within this area, people sort of know me anyway, and they don't knock me for working in ECE.
Yep.
I mean, even though I do talk to a lot of fellow colleagues within ECE, some teachers and that now and again, and I sort of tell them, my undergrad's primary education in there. So what do you mean? Why are you here? And that's, I give them the quick, why would I be anywhere else? This is awesome, doing what I do. But then I always have to say, well, I do miss the holidays and the, unless you're within AKA, you know who you are if you're listening. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yep. And from your perspective, right? Like, because it is a complex issue in terms of why there's so few male ECE teachers. We've just touched on a couple of those. Do you have any thoughts on what might be an easy way to start getting male teachers into the profession, and what what might be some real quick easy steps that can be done either by the government, either by the ECE sector, that can kind of start to encourage people, more male teachers, more male teachers to consider it and to enter the profession.
I suppose, you could look at scholarships or grants or different things like that, even though you might
encourage the wrong type.
Yeah, well,
could that happen?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying you might end up being biased towards. People seeing it as biased towards being male to help them get through the education, possibly, but I don't know. For me, it's a lot less stressful than having worked in other things anyway within primary,
right?
With what so working with small, larger class sizes was never fun. So. Coming in working with an ECE has been a lot less stressful for me anyway.
Yeah. I think they have its pros and cons.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, as you say, in ECE you have in a way a smaller group, and you're amongst a lot of other teachers.
But you're a lot more hands-on sometimes anyway. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But as for getting more men within the sector, it's a tough one.
There's the perceptions to overcome.
I suppose
there's the pay that needs to be overcome.
I think addressing the pay is number one.
Number one. You really think more males will come on board when they find the pay?
Well, those that those men, most of the men that are out there usually secondary trained, or they look for the higher position. So some of it comes down to salary and how far you can drive yourself up the ladder.
Yeah. Well, you just touched on an interesting point. So is there a way where we can where the ECE sector can paint an attractive sort of proposition, one where it's one that's challenging, one that sort of pushes yourself, and that kind of in a way will appeal to your manhood, isn't it? Because as a man, you want to face certain mountains and challenges, and you want to overcome them, and that's what sort of gives you that drive,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's definitely lots of opportunities out there at the moment. Well, I mean, a lot of the men that I've seen are actual are either centre managers or they're looking at buying a centre,
Yep. Yep.
from that area. So, um, yeah, I think, um, I mean, verbally, I talk to a lot of men and fathers and dads and that, and I always try to talk to them about what they think about working with an ECE and that kind of stuff. And they always, they're interested, but it's always getting them to make the step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether they have or not, I'm not sure.
Well, getting them to make that step from where they currently are can be quite difficult,
Yeah.
especially if they spent years, obtaining a certain degree, whether
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
finance or marketing or BCom or whatever, and then asking them to drop that to restudy again,
Yeah.
and then they've got to then worry about their mortgage. The
Yeah.
children's also got expenses that they need to pay for, so that's a lot harder. So, but it will be a lot easier, I suppose, targeting sort of males who have just finished high school, and then it's still a blank canvas. They don't have certain strings attached to them that might make it hard for them to switch. It's like, yep, I'm open to considering this. Yep, I'm open to considering that. I like to learn more. What's involved, and
Be interesting to see how much, how many teachers went through and got into teaching from the old campaigns on television. Mind you, there's a huge teacher shortage, so probably not that much, when they done all the things about.
when was this?
Oh, that must have been about 7-8 years ago. But look what's happened, yeah. So I don't know how they'd be able to leverage a campaign and spend that amount of money if what they've done for primary school to get teachers within there hasn't quite worked in the past. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Like how there's so few male ECE teachers, and that's just so common across the board, across all the other countries.
Yeah. I think that we try to teach about community to the children in the face of the world, and yet we're only giving them a very small face within ECE of women working there every day.
Yeah.
Of our wahine. Yeah.
Yep. So, like, is it fair to say, like for you, you studied primary initially, and then you've gone into ECE. Can you elaborate a bit more on your reasons for that? Like what made you? You did mention that it was a bit difficult as a primary teacher to do certain things in the ECE setting, and that was kind of what motivated you to get an ECE qualification. What other drivers were there for you?
Well, for me, I mean, working in primary has its ups. Obviously, I enjoyed to be able to run my own sort of classroom and do things how I liked, as a single kaiako, as a single teacher within the environment. But also the other thing which I didn't like was the fact it was a classroom. From a perspective of, it wasn't outside. It wasn't doing things in a way that was really more play based,
right,
and inquiry based as much as I'd like to see, which is what Te Whāriki is primarily about.
Right,
it's about every day following the learner and looking at what they're doing and then joining them, rather than the other way around, it being more teacher-led, So it's, within Te Whāriki, it's, we try to always make sure that it's, firstly, child interest-based type things, and then noticing, recognizing, and then responding.
Yeah.
So obviously that's coming through within primary. There's more and more play-based in first years and second year and so forth now. But when I was back in that area, it was sort of a lot of testing and a lot of assessments. Doing your running records for your reading and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Yeah, national standards was there too, so say no more.
Yeah.
in the workload and all the
Yeah.
testing and stuff. So for me, it just
It's
wasn't
interesting.
something I wanted to keep doing.
It's interesting that you say, that you've moved from primary to ECE, because from what I see, a lot of ECE teachers want to move to primary. And why do you think that's the case?
A good friend of mine sort of done the opposite as well. She's moved to primary.
Mm,
I think sometimes either there could be the type of person that wants what I sort of like. They want to go out and sort of shape things in their own way rather than being in a large sort of a centre type where you're collaborating a lot more, even though you still need to collaborate with your colleagues
in primary,
but
probably not to that extent of a.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Also, I think when it comes to, like I said before, are you you have a primary degree? What are you doing here? So it's sort of like, I think there's a perception of primary having a better sort of a teaching stigma about it, a name of being a primary rather than an ECE. I mean, yeah, that's my own sort of take from it, because that's what I get from other people.
Right.
When I'm
So you
asked.
think that ECE teachers go to primary because they think that they will be viewed better?
Not necessarily. Well, that could be a small slight reason, but there's also the fact that the pay's there, the holidays are there as well. So yeah. When you
The work's
look
not
at
necessarily easier.
when you look, no, it's
But the
not.
pay is better, you're right.
But the pay is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pay is better, and you're getting, well, not necessarily 2 weeks every term, but you still get a break. And,
Yeah. I mean, it's still work, but you may not necessarily go to the school every day, but it's still kind of, I suppose, work that you do at home,
yeah,
preparation.
yeah. Always something.
Yeah,
within the
and then
teacher's
meetings
life.
after that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think also it's the age group that they might just want to start teaching the older children, which is fair enough.
A change,
That's right, it's a change.
just a change. They've done EC for a while.
Yeah,
They want to know what it's like.
and also teachers that are going for primary into EC, they'd rather teach a different age group, and that's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, you do see that happen as well. Primary school teachers going into EC.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think also, as children are on their learning journey, every stage is different for them cognitively, and maybe you want to take your pedagogy into a different area and start teaching at different levels.
Yep.
And that's just part of being a teacher. So yeah,
Yep.
whether it's reverse going down or going up.
We were talking a bit about earlier on about male shortage in the ECE sector and all that. And in your opinion, right? And we were talking about targeting students. What would you look out for in a male student thinking of going to ECE, in terms of what sort of characteristics do you think that hey, I think you should go into ECE. I think you should be a teacher. Is that, yeah? Do you because in a way it's not something which is an obvious choice, right? It's not something which is like, yeah, there's a mountain, there's a goal, and it's not like the money is particularly attractive to a male who view themselves as a breadwinner. So what kind of characteristic do you think you wanted to, that you would see that in a male that you go, hey, look, I think this should be one that you should consider quite seriously?
For me, what makes a good teacher, or I'd like to see people coming through, is someone that's, you can always tell if they're good with other people. They look at people.
Interpersonal.
Yeah, interpersonal, but they're they're a people person, or they give everything. They like sharing. They like telling people, giving advice, or they're the kind of person that
Right.
shares knowledge. About I think this.
Would that also apply to secondary then?
Yeah, of course.
What would that
You need.
what would that difference look like for someone that you say, if you see a male teenager and he's finished college and he's deciding, what would make you decide to say, look, I think you should be a male teacher but in secondary, and to another, I think you should be a male teacher but in ECE. What would that kind of distinction look like to you?
I think for one, you have to be able to know. It could be quite hard unless you're sort of seeing how they interact with children, because you might see things that you think, oh well, this guy's quite humorous, and or he's good at talking, but then you might get them with children like, oh my God, it's the worst day of my life. I'm not going. And I've actually working with an ECE and going through study. I've had a lot of friends that have come through the first sort of month of training, and then they've done practicum, and it's like, hey, where's everyone gone? Are they coming back? No, they're not coming back. They're great people, and you think there'd be awesome people working with children, but at the end of the day, they're not so much for them. But I think for me, you need to have someone that's caring, and caring people, that share anything with you. They're good talkers, if they're quite shy, maybe not. It's hard to say. It's very hard to say. For me, I always find someone with humor. If someone's quite humorous and has got a wild, great imagination, those are usually the people that will be good with an ECE.
And I get that. I get where you're coming from, because humor really breaks barriers, right? And
it not only breaks barriers, but it pulls children into you. When you have the voice, you have to have a voice sometimes. Now, for me, it's anyway. I mean, you have your okay, let's go and do this, and then you have a titiro mai, whakarongo mai, well done, and then looking them in the eye, and then you just have a knack of pulling them in to you. So yeah, it's sort of a person that has that presence of looking them on their level, in their face, and showing them that I'm here with you in the moment, and I can see you're listening, and I'm listening to you. And that's not what many teachers do. They forget all about that, and they're there, but they're not there. Same as that's what they say. That you have in Māori, you have he taonga te whakarongo, and it's a treasure to be able to listen. But sometimes people listen with their ears, but they're not really listening to what's happening within you. So that's a real thing that, as a teacher, if you've got that, you've got that. And to be able to truly see what children are doing and how you can truly add something that's really valuable in the moment.
So I see that you've talked to some parents and some fathers, and so in your own way, you've tried to be an advocate.
Yeah, I mean, it's I suppose for a lot of the dads anyway, because obviously sometimes it's 50-50 drop off or whatever. However, it's working for drop offs, and I suppose for a lot of them finally coming across a male teacher, it's like, hey, did you watch the game? Yeah, they finally talked about what happened on a Monday morning to someone, when they first get out of the house. Or it's talking about my bike, when they see my bike. Oh, you got a bike, bro? Yeah, I ride. Oh, you ride too? Yeah. Oh, I used to. Now I've got 5 children, so I don't ride as much. But it's always that male perspective that and talking to dads and fathers. Sometimes also, I suppose one thing that I didn't bring up is being a male. is always to let people know you're there as a reliever, or you're there teaching if they haven't seen you there. Because sometimes when they don't know you're a male teacher on the premises, whether you haven't got your thing on, they're like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Some teachers are really aren't used to seeing men walking around like in a staff room. They're like, oh my God, who's this here?
They probably think like what you're another parent who's
Yeah,
lost.
or either I'm a parent or I'm a guy here to fix the photocopier, or
The lighting.
and that happens all the time with me, you know.
Yeah.
Or I'm there for a while and it's like, okay, so are you a teacher? I thought you were so and so's uncle or granddad. Yeah, I'm getting old. Yeah, so all you Jitbug workers, always keep your Jitbug thing on you, your ID.
Yeah.
You know?
So you wear that with you all the time? So
I always have it
helps,
with me.
That
I
helps
always do.
clarify.
It clarifies,
Yeah.
not only that, it's very professional if you have it with
Yeah.
you. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know. It just lets everybody know who you are, and it's just a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've been speaking about being a reliever. You've you an EC teacher in a full-time position for a long time, and then now you've done relieving. As a male teacher, you know, having done both, what are your perspectives? What is your perspective
Between having been full time and
being a reliever? How's that been like for you?
Well, obviously, not having like 12, 10, whatever portfolios to do is
A bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus. But I do miss following the journeys of children a lot more. And
That's
doing
one thing you don't see as a reliever, because when you're not full time at the center.
When you're with children a lot longer and you're following their learning journey, obviously, you're not able to teach from that perspective of introducing things from their doing extensions and their pathways. But I do miss that. I miss contributing to learning from the perspective of saying, you know, I'd really love to see this area used for this. I think you're doing an awesome job, and I also think we could do this in this area. Or if someone's written up something wrong, which I always do see some, you know, as the teacher in me, I might see something written wrong in their planning, and I'm like, oh, shall I bring this up or not? And I usually do bring it, you know, I usually let them know. Yeah. But it's been from he's a reliever, so.
Yeah.
But when I see misspelled mouldy words and things like that, I always say, you know, you've spelt this with an A and not an O, type things.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I asked the reason why I brought that up was, do you think it might be a good introduction for males to just, you know, put their feet in the water a little bit, have a feel of what's going on?
I think it would be a good area for, well, obviously there's still avenues for unregistered teachers, obviously, to look. So that is one way, to be able to go through and look at different environments to see how everything works, different schedules and timetables that are being run through by different centres, how EC works in different areas of Auckland and Aotearoa, because the centres that are running, say, within Otara, Manukau, they're not the same ones that are running the Montessori's in Remuera necessarily. So it's,
you're absolutely right there.
So it gives them a chance to see what might fit them and what might suit them.
No, thanks for that. This I've got to wrap it up. I've
no worries.
been told that I've got to cut it short now. But no, it's been really great to speak with you about all of this. And there were actually a couple more things that I wanted to talk about until I was told that for the cut it short. So no, thanks again. I really appreciate that you've made the time. You know.
No worries.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know. No one perceives anything as in the wrong way. You know, everything's said with love and care.
No, I mean
some of the, you know, obviously a lot of it's touchy subjects and sometimes people, when they do hear it, they might take it in a wrong way. But
Yeah.
it's just from my ears being open and what I've experienced is good to let people know, and hopefully it helps.
Yeah. No, I think you're doing a great job in what you do, and how you advocate for ECE, and we're very, very thankful to have you here.
Kia ora.
All right.
Kia ora.
Thanks. Thank you.